With ULM this weekend and the Tide probably in a bad mood, here's hoping they go all Olivia Newton-John on them.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. We'll talk about FanDuel in just a little bit. I want to thank you everydayers for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks to everybody for making this your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. If you are an everydayer, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about with Olivia Newton-John because you're probably too young. But Olivia Newton-John sang a song called Let's Get Physical.
82, I believe. 1982 is my guess there.
Well, why did you tell people you knew the year? It was bad enough I told them I knew the song.
I was a
anywho.
Little league player about that time of my life.
Anywho, yeah, Jimmy was barely even 22 years old. So listen, I think I speak for the Alabama world. That's what we want to see. We want to see Alabama come out and be more physical. I don't care if you're physical in the passing game. I don't care if you're physical in the run game. I don't care what game you play. Be more physical. That's all we want to see. We want to see, because physicality generally equates to effort. You can have effort without being physical. I don't think you can be physical without effort, though.
That's a great point. I like that a lot. I mean, we're going to use that going forward. That's pretty good. You know, football has changed so much, and it's also changed so little. One of my favorite sayings, and it comes from an Alabama football coach, and I know he said this back in 1990. It applies today. I don't think it ever stopped applying, even when college football was briefly in a hurry-up, no-huddle, everyone playing at 1,000-mile-an-hour thing that's sort of fading out a little bit. But Gene Stallings said in 1990, you want to win a football game, run the ball, stop the run, be positive, and give away takeaway. And that's your formula. That's your formula right there. And I'm not saying abandon the pass game, don't defend the pass. Of course I'm not. But it starts there. That's the building block. I have a hard time believing that Alabama, in its current incarnation, despite the fact that DeBoer and Grubb have proven themselves in terms of throwing the football all over the yard, you got to run the football. When they had their magical season at Washington, Dylan Johnson rushed for 1,200 yards and was all Pac-12. You've got to run the football to have success on offense. We've got to get better at that. That means being physical. Like Luke said, I don't think you can run the dang ball, as they say, without being physical. And on the other side of the ball, stop the run. It's what Alabama has struggled with under this new staff, and it's got to stop them. Guess what? Louisiana-Monroe, that's their first plan. Run the ball. That's what they rushed for over 300 yards last week against an outmanned opponent. But they're showing up in Bryant-Denny to run the ball. And I'll be honest, until I see Alabama stop it, I'm going to have a little concern. Oh, okay.
Unmuted. I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're here to run.
I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I don't want to play, Loyola Marymount from the early 90s. I want to play a team that's going to run the ball because I want to see that we can stop it. I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know that we can.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that's where it all starts is the running game. And, again, to be a good running team, you have to be physical. And to be physical, you got to put forth effort. So that's what all we want to see. I promise you this. I'll make this promise to Bama Nation. If Alabama were to win this game, and I think they will, but I will, and if they win in a hugely fashion, like win by 50, I will not come on this podcast and say, where was that last weekend? I won't do it.
No.
I'll just be happy with what we did and move forward.
I will co-sign that pledge. I agree. That's the worst attitude to have, to relive the Florida State loss every week the rest of the year. That's absurd. You just pick up and go. I think the last thing on the whole planet Earth we need to discuss right now is playoffs. But if Alabama wins all its remaining games, guess what? Florida State, they're in the playoff. I mean, that's a fact. But you're not going to win all the rest of the games this Saturday. what you're going to do is try to beat Monroe. And that means stopping the run, running the ball, and running the ball in offense. Running the ball is not a play call. I know I'm old school. I know me and Gene Stallings are on the same page here. Very old school. Running the ball is not a play call. Running the ball is not when Ryan Grubb looks at his play sheet up in the booth and says, okay, 2nd and 7, we're gonna run off half of you. That's not running the ball. Running the ball is what you do, and it's who you are. You are a run the ball program starting in January and February and March and April and May. It's a mentality. It's a culture. It can't be a play call. If it's just a play call, it's not going to work. It has to be the mentality of the football program. When we call a run play, we will be successful because we will move you off the ball and we will dictate to the defense. Hey, those old Nebraska teams, they not only told you they were running the ball, they told you where they were running it. And could you stop it? No. They were the ultimate in physicality when it comes to old school run game. And Alabama's not doing that. They're not going to do that under DeBoer or Grubb. And that's fine. You don't have to do that. But having a more physical mentality on offense that gets behind running the dang ball, they're your formula for success. And that's going to make Ty's job throwing it so much easier.
So it's also going to be a big recruiting weekend. I mean, they get it. Is it a little odd to you that this is such a big recruiting weekend?
It's a little odd. It is, because that's not normally the case when you play someone like Louisiana-Monroe. But I think it's a product. Luke, everything has changed in recruiting. I think we have a tendency to think, oh, well, recruiting is recruiting. No, it's radically changed because the rules change. And one of those results is this. Virtually the whole class is done. So this is a tight-knit group. They're all committed, and a lot of them are within driving distance, and they want to be here because they get to pal around with their future teammates and continue to build those relationships, those future teammates, which is great. So many of the visitors this weekend are kids already committed as part of this class. A couple of the visitors are guys they would want to join this class. And, of course, there'll be a lot of 2027 and 2028 guys getting their first introduction to an Alabama football game. That's big, too. But I'm interested in these 2026 guys that you might be adding to this group. We talked about it all summer, Luke, that don't think that it's over. It's mostly over. But they're going to look for senior season late bloomers for a couple of reasons. You got room. You were a little short in a couple of places like defensive line, for instance, and maybe DB. Probably needed one more defensive lineman, maybe one more DB. So you're a little short. Let's look for a late bloomer. And here's the best news of all. If it's a late bloomer, he's probably not heavily recruited. Everyone's rev share and NIL is sort of spoken for. These will not be expensive players. These are guys you can comfortably fit into the budget, because a late 12th grade bloomer is not like a dude that's been recruited by everyone since the 9th grade. Those guys are pricey. But the late bloomers aren't as pricey. You can add those guys and not go over budget.
But there's some big names, obviously, Sadarian Morgan, Jet Tamala, Xavier Griffin, Jamarian Matthews, Xavier Crowell, Zion Gibson, Chris Booker, Bear Fretwell, Jabarius Chicken Guerrer. The chicken is his nickname. But Jordan Edmonds won't make it because he's got a home.
Do you like going with Jabarius or Chicken?
I think Jabarius sounds more intimidating.
Yeah, I'm with you. I sort of like. I mean, he's got a nickname that everybody calls him that. My understanding of Viger is, the teachers like, hey, Chicken. I mean, he's got a pervasive nickname, but I think when your name is Jabarius, you just go with that. That's awesome.
I'd rather my name be Chicken and my nickname be Jabarius. I think that's a lot more intimidating. But anyway, a guy that you mentioned, Corey Howard, who's committed to Georgia. He got a Bama offer. He's 6'6", 270. Now, he's only a 3-star, but here's my bet, and this is the easiest bet in the world. He's going to be a 4-star by us all said and done, whether he stays with Georgia or commits somewhere else. You don't get to be that big and recruited by Georgia and then just stay a 3-star. That's not happening. So
it's sort of crazy about, the star system, me and you are both fans. We never mean to be always taking shots at the star system, but it's not perfect. My point being is, yeah, he's a 3-star. But are we actually going to consider a guy who has the option of attending Georgia or Alabama, some lowly rated prospect? know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
silly. When 2 of the top 5 or 6 programs in all of college football, and believe it or not, Alabama fans, even after last weekend, Alabama still considered that, at least for now.
Yeah.
If Alabama and Georgia will take you, you're pretty good. I don't care what the star system says. I mean, when you got both of those staffs saying, this is a guy I want on my team, good player.
Yeah, it's again, call it a Georgia-Bama bump if you want to, but I mean, they've also been 2 of the best programs in the country the last X amount of years. So, I mean, I think that that's fair. If Ohio State's recruiting you, guess what? I don't mind if you're recruiting.
What if
You
the
know,
kid had
I mean,
25? What if the kid had 25 or 35 offers, but they were all from Group of 5 schools
Yeah.
or Power 4 schools, but not the really elite programs? Would we be more impressed with him? I'm pretty impressed when it's Alabama and Georgia. It'd be nice if there were others. Maybe others will show up. This kid clearly has the makings of a late bloomer. Georgia got in on him first. He's very lowly ranked. I think right now he's somewhere in the 700s, but he was even like unranked when he committed to Georgia. The fact that he's so willing to drive to Alabama, though, tells me I'm wondering. I don't know. This is one of the situations where I really don't know. Don't read between the lines. There's no lines to read between. I'm just wondering out loud here. A kid that's from Georgia, that's committed to Georgia, that all of a sudden Alabama's in the, their opener against Monroe, and the kid's like, yeah, I'll come. I wonder about his relationship with Georgia, but I don't know.
Well, not only that, I mean, if I were him and I were dead set on Georgia, then I would be like, yeah, I'll come, but I'm coming to Wisconsin, or I'm coming to Tennessee, or I'm coming to LSU. I'm not coming to Monroe.
Better game to watch, more entertaining.
Yeah. That, I mean, now maybe there's some positives to Monroe 100% being at night and Wisconsin at 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, whatever. But yeah, if I'm him, that's what I would. I mean, if I'm dead set on sticking with Georgia, then I would say, okay, I will travel there. But I'm really, number one, I'm really not coming there. And I'm only coming there to check out a good game and have fun. But this, again, I do like your theory that this recruiting weekend is so big. And I also like that it's so big right after the Florida State loss. And let me tell you why. Because I think it's to do some damage control. And I think it's like, now, this was probably set up before we lost to Florida State. I know that. But I'm saying I think it worked out well because the staff gets to say, all right, everybody come in here. We're going to regroup and we're going to, what do you call, circle the wagons. And we're going to say, okay, guys, we're cool. Y'all just hang in there. It's getting better. Yeah, we got some growing pains, but it's getting better. All right, got to talk to you guys now about DoorDash. You already know about DoorDash. My son drove for DoorDash while he's in Arizona, so he loves it. It's almost the weekend, time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Alabama, y'all may think I'm crazy. I'm going to go with Ty Simpson. I thought he was fine. I thought he was good. And it's hard to pick an MVP this week. It really is. Y'all know this. But I'm going to go with Ty Simpson. Somebody may want to go with, I think it was Xavier Brown. Some people have brought up, or maybe it was Zay Mincy. I can't remember. But I'm going with Ty Simpson. And not because I thought he was so awesome, but because I thought he was a steady force in a sea of uncertainty. Look, he didn't turn the ball over. He did a lot of good things. And Jimmy's laughing because of my choice, I guess. I don't know. Why are you laughing?
The sea analogy, the calming presence in the sea of chaos.
Yeah, it's not bad, right? I get very Plato-esque. And if you've been watching this week, this performance may not be a fluke. Let's hope that Ty Simpson has another big one. And just like Ty Simpson delivered for Alabama, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including 100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo through November 18th of this year. Look, go check out DoorDash. I'm telling you, you will love it. You know about DoorDash, and it's the best. And I'm telling y'all, my son delivered for him. He loved it. He still does it occasionally. He's out in Arizona doing some stuff. DoorDash is a great company, and they do a good job, and they always keep you in the food. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every single time. That's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. Mazda offers more than safety. It's won more 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. And that's as of August. As an athlete focuses on every detail, Mazda does the same, from metallic accents to hand-stitched Napa leather. Oh, yeah. It's the small details that make the big plays, and just like there's more to every player, there's more to Mazda and Mazda vehicles. Mazda, move and be moved. And I'm going to add this, that this isn't part of live read, but in our comments, I'm not kidding you, Mazda just started sponsoring us. In our comments on the first time we did Mazda, there were like 5 people that said, I've had a Mazda and I love it. I'm glad they're a part of y'all's show. That's pretty cool. So Mazda, thumbs up from Daddy.
You say Daddy?
When you have 4 children, you can call yourself Daddy.
You're channeling Nick Saban in his commercial. Hot tub. They never showed that first time. Like when they first started showing that commercial, they showed the hot tub scene. I haven't seen it in a year. For whatever reason, they cut it out of the commercial that consistently runs on TV. His VR.
It is on there a lot. I was hoping they'd do more with it because he had a shot.
They should cut a whole second commercial with different jokes that are the same. It'd be great.
All right, so let's start getting into some player prediction stuff. Well, actually, let's get into player prediction first. All right. Ty Simpson. I talked about him in the DoorDash, deal. So I take that back. How many yards do you think Ty Simpson should throw for to impress you this week, or can he even impress you this week?
I still would like to see efficiency from Ty as opposed to some sort of big yardage number. But here's what Ty could do to, I think, gain some confidence. I wouldn't mind seeing him hit on a deep ball or two because he's kind of taken some grief over the accuracy on the deep balls. And some people have taken shots at him over that. I think he's a little better there than people realize. And I would like to see Ty hit a deep shot or two. That helps your numbers. And I think it would help grow some confidence. What I really want to see from Ty really has nothing to do with numbers. And that's, I felt he lost his poise a little bit. I felt he panicked when Alabama was down 17-14 in the game. And then everything was a fastball and he had this look on his face. And I thought he just sort of panicked a little bit. I just want to see a calm, poised, efficient Ty Simpson. But if we got to throw a number out there, I think throwing for around 250 would be nice.
That's about what he did last week, first of all. Secondly, I'll say this. Even though I gave him our DoorDash, who delivered this week award, there was very few people who could have gotten the award. And maybe Jeremy Bernard, maybe Jeremy would have been better to go with, perhaps. But that being said, we are giving Ty a lot of credit for just not screwing up. You know what I mean?
The ball. I don't think people have talked enough about
I know, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we're praising him because, wow, he should. No, we're like, whew, he didn't screw that up too bad, which is a weird way to compliment somebody.
When people say at least he didn't turn the ball over, it's a bit of a backhanded compliment, right? And that's kind of how most are saying it.
It's like dating somebody that everybody knows is awful, and you're like, well, I mean, she's got a job. I mean, you know what I mean?
I think people need to realize, though, a guy making his first start ever on the road, Power 4 opponent, a good Power 4 opponent, and doesn't turn over the ball once, that's rare. That's rare. And maybe we should be more celebratory of that. But, boy, the playmaking just wasn't there with his arm. I do think he ran around okay. I think he picked his spots to run okay. But just a more calm, poised, efficient Ty. How about another game with no turnovers? There's no reason to turn the ball over against these guys. I think what Monroe does best is run the ball on offense. This isn't one of the better defenses Alabama will face all year. So if you're going to rack up some yards and points, Saturday is the day to do it. It's not like that's going to be easier against SEC opponents down the road.
Does Ryan Williams finally get in the end zone again this weekend?
Has there been any definitive statement on whether he's going to play? If so, I haven't seen it. I mean,
I'm with you. In fact, I was going to ask that, and I was like, well, I
don't
feel
know.
stupid asking it, but
I don't know if he's going to play. I think
God, I hope he does, because I think he needs to play.
Yeah, even Ryan. I mean, that's how bad the negativity is. Even Ryan's
Yeah.
taken multiple shots to one apparently from AJ McCarron of all people. Ryan's taking a lot of shots. He does need to.
When you wear a hot pink smoking jacket and you carry in a teddy bear to a game with painted fingernails, if you don't play well, you just look weird. If you play well, everybody's like, well, that's like Lady Gaga or what's the woman who sang Chandelier, that woman who has like the Cruella de Vil looking hair, Sia, whatever.
Isn't that right? It's SZIA, I think.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're not that good at that. But I'm saying you can be as weird as you want as long as you're good. If you're not good, you just look weird.
That woman doesn't even show her face. She must be she must be a college football fan.
Boy, you could have called me Sia last week because I didn't want to show my face either after that game in Tallahassee. But so
it's
yeah,
SIA, my PA on the spot PA. It's SIA. There's no Z. I think I was getting her mixed up with that
SZA.
R&B SZA. Yeah, but it's Sia, SIA. A Chandelier song's good.
I mean, it's also like 10 years old, but whatever.
Well, about the last time I turned on the radio, that had sports on it.
So, but Ryan Williams did have a post on Instagram where he had him like holding a ball and it said, "Thank you, Jesus." Now, I mean, was he just literally thanking Jesus? Was he like just saying, "Thank you, Jesus, I get to play this week"? Was he saying, "Thank you, Jesus, I'm not really hurt"? I don't know what he was saying.
And I'm not piling on. I'm not getting on Ryan, because I think it's over the top. And I pointed out on Twitter, and I think it was mistaken, but on Jeremy Bernard's first catch of the game, the very first one, he was wide open. And the reason that he was wide open is if you watch Ryan, 3 Florida State defenders went with him, not 2. 3 went with Ryan, leaving Jeremy wide open. So I talk about, I know that we're getting on Ryan, but Ryan is so impactful. He's affecting the game in that way too, in a positive way, even when he's not dropping balls or being targeted. Ryan was helping Jerm get open because of all the attention that he creates when he's out there. But I'm not piling on Ryan. But I do think it's fair to say that this is a production game. And you're not going to live on the Georgia game. You're not going to live on last year. You're not going to live on the first half of last year. This is a production game. And it's time to catch balls for a lot of yards and make plays to continue doing things like being on the cover of the NCAA college football game.
Or just to continue to be able to paint your fingernails, which I don't care, but you got to catch.
We've mentioned it a couple times.
Man, I love it when I get to talk about sponsors that I use a lot of. I try to use just about all of our sponsors because, I mean, that's what you do. But Upside is something I had way before they came on board. And the reason is because I travel a lot. I live an hour away from my work, so I'm always filling up my tank. And Jimmy, I told you this. I've shown you literally on my phone that I've had the Upside app for a few years now. And so then when they came on board, I was like, this is awesome. I can talk about them. What you do is you have the Upside app. You download that. It's free, by the way. And you use promo code football, and you get 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill up. Now, here's what you do. Okay, so you have the Upside app. You pull it up when you're going to get gas, and it'll show you the gas stations that Upside is working with. So you put up, say, a Circle K, and Circle K shows up and it says, when you fill up, you'll also get an additional, every gallon you get 4, 5, 10, whatever cents. On your first fill up, if you use this promo code football, you'll also get 25 cents per gallon added to that. So if you do get 10 cents per gallon, you add 25 cents, that's 35 cents a gallon. And let's say you put 15 gallons in. I'm not going to do the math because I can't, but I'm telling you, it's a nice little number. And what it does is it starts adding up. I showed Jimmy and I showed people on this podcast. I have garnered about $800 over 2 years that I've been doing this. That's not a lot of money. I'm not sending my kids to college with it, but what I am doing, I can fill my car up a couple more times a year. And these days, we know it's a big deal. So go get Upside. You will love it. I'm telling you, and it's free and it's easy. I mean, we're just telling you how to make all kind of money around here. We should be locked on finances. Or we could also be Locked On FanDuel. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. There it is. Locked On FanDuel. I love FanDuel.
More ways to make money.
There's more, mate. There's an NFL game tonight. The NFL started last night, by the way. I hope you got in on FanDuel for that. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for all the kickoffs with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Can't beat that with a stick. Look, I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. You want player props? Nah, they got them. You want to do a same-game parlay? Bingo. You want to bingo? They probably have that on there. I didn't look for it. Or even jumping in live as action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sunday. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet with FanDuel. Prediction time, Jimmy. I've struggled. I've hit the reset button on everything. I've recalibrated this season, but I am going to be optimistic. I want to be positive, and I'm going to say Alabama wins this game 47-7. That's a cover. That's a nice number. And why it's making you laugh, I don't know. That scares me that it's making you laugh. That scares me.
Last week we had the exact same prediction, and we couldn't have been more wrong because we predicted Alabama to win.
No, we were right about the score almost.
We were close on the score. We said 34-17, and the score ended up being 31-17. It just was the complete opposite team that came out on top. I just laughed because you said 47-7. I got Alabama winning 45-7. So that's why I laugh, because 2 weeks in a row we've been just about dead on in our prediction. And look, most of the time when I'm judging an Alabama game and their performance, I don't really look at the spread. I mean, to me, that the spread is really a betting thing, and it's not it's not an expert that says, hey, this team is exactly this much better than the other team. It's just a number that flexes and moves to get, money on both sides of the action. But I am looking at the number this week. I think it's important. I think it's important that Alabama not only wins the game, I think it's important that Alabama wins and covers the spread, because that's an objective way to measure that they outperformed expectations. Because I think this weekend, Alabama needs to outperform expectations, not live up to them, not just play well, because we could spend all week discussing what play well means. But I think if you beat the spread, that's an objective way to measure that the team played well and played beyond expectations. And me and you both have Alabama covering in our picks. And that's what I'm going to believe happens. And if it doesn't happen, if Alabama struggles, either doesn't win the game or struggles to win the game, or it's a close game, then, next week on Locked On Bama, we have some hard conversations to have if that's the case. Because this is a team that Alabama should beat by 5 touchdowns.
Easily. We should do it easily. And so, I think that's what we got to have. Now, a couple of things I want to make mention that even though Alabama lost last week, and even though I'd prefer it be the other way, our viewers and listens and everything were through the roof because of this. Now, we also understand a lot of people were hate watching and enjoying the tears, which I totally get. I'm totally down with that. I understand. But see, if Alabama keeps losing, people are going to not hate watch as much, because what's the point in hating somebody that's not very good? So we got to get back to winning, so that every now and again we can have a loss where our views do go through the roof. I don't mind making less money if Alabama wins. That's how dedicated I am. That's my contribution to our NIL. I'll make less money if y'all win.
That's what would happen literally, and I would be 100% good with it. I just want to win every week, and I was just so embarrassed over last Saturday's performance. But this Saturday, we're not going to, like Luke said, we pledged if Alabama plays really well and beats Monroe by more than 5 touchdowns and all that stuff, you will not hear us say, where was that last week? Y'all can find other shows that do stuff like that. We're moving on and moving forward.
All right, so it is sort of we got to wrap up quickly. We got off on other tangents, but it is sort of a crappy weekend for college football. Honestly, it's just not a great weekend. Not a lot of great games. Kentucky, Ole Miss. Any reason to feel like Kentucky could do this again? I don't think so.
Ole Miss big.
But the line is dropped like 2 points.
Hey, but winning on the road in the SEC is tough. I won't be surprised if it's closer than I think it's going to be, because winning on the road in the SEC is tough. And last I checked, Kentucky's still an SEC team. And Kentucky did beat Toledo last week. I thought Toledo would beat them, and Kentucky beat a really good Group of 5 team in Toledo. But Ole Miss has too many horses.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, what about the biggest game to me is Oklahoma and Michigan. That one's a pretty fun game to watch.
Yeah, I think it's on the same time as Alabama, so we'll be watching Alabama-Monroe. But I think Oklahoma beats Michigan probably by a couple of scores. I think there'll be a lot of talk next week about Oklahoma being back. I think that's how good they'll look in beating Michigan. But freshman quarterback from Michigan, it's a home game for the Sooners. Don't run to bet the over on Oklahoma wins this season if they win Saturday. I think there'll be an overreaction to an Oklahoma win. And I do think Oklahoma's a good football team.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Locked on Bama. Look, we will go live after the game tomorrow. Are you going to the game tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So after the game, Jimmy's going to meander back to his house, which is close to the stadium. I'll give the address later so y'all can go find him. And we will then do a live show after the game. So y'all please come join us, because really there's not a lot of great games on tomorrow night. So what else do you have to do besides watch us? Right?
Exactly. Well, I'm going to be watching us.
That is true. That blew my mind. Okay. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.